Hey guys, so it's me, Alexis. I am back with another treat for y'all. I have an interview with the lovely Frank Clifford in regards to his workshop called Forecasting, a Masterclass of 9 Key Steps. But before I get to the good stuff, I want to know more about Frank because I don't know much about Frank and I want to know more about Frank. I hope you guys do too. So, what can you tell us about yourself?
Well, I've been an astrologer for 30 years. I started at the age of 16, and I would say I've never had a real job. I've always been an astrologer working in some way, writing, lecturing, researching, learning, continuing to learn. So it's been an interesting life so far. So 30 years is quite a milestone that happened last year. Yeah,
Wow, 16 years. No, you start at 16. My bad.
I
Wow,
did.
that's so young.
Yeah.
What would you say for anyone starting off that early, just out of curiosity?
Well, with when I did it 30 years ago, there was no internet, and I had to learn through books. I calculated everything by hand, so it was just the beginning of computers and astrology. So I would say to anybody doing it, just you know, learn slowly. I mean, absorb as much as you can, do as many charts as possible, just keep building your knowledge and be extra choosy who you listen to, because there's a lot of rubbish out there. There's a lot of free content that's content free. And my feeling is to just be choosy about that and to pick people that really speak to you.
That's really great advice. So, the next thing I want to talk about is your workshop. Like, it's called a masterclass of 9 Key Steps to Forecasting. Tell me about that.
Okay. Well, I hesitated using the word masterclass because
Oh.
that's sometimes used, and I think, oh, maybe not. But really, I've written and lectured a lot about forecasting, and still find that people mix that up with prediction and feel that astrology should be predicting people's lives. And really, what I do in my lectures, in my writing, and what I'm going to be doing at ISAR is to really give you steps on how to interpret transits, directions, lunar cycle, all different methods, but not to be thinking that you have to make an outright prediction. I think anybody that is saying they can predict 100% or even 80% is probably kidding themselves and kidding their clients. It's far more about getting in tune with uh, what what you're being asked to look at, what you're being asked to engage in, and in many ways to just get in tune with the season that you're in. And much more useful than saying to somebody, "Oh, next year's a year you're going to get married." Much better to look at forecasting in a different way, in a more helpful way, and to explain some of the transits, some of the things happening in their chart, so they can participate actively and feel like they're in a certain amount of control over what they choose to do. So, setting the scene, looking at the transit and directions, etc., rather than making a prediction, opens up the client. An opportunity for the client to really explore uh, what they're here to do and what they want to do as well, rather than being sentenced to an astrologer's prediction. So, in a nutshell, I'm trying to encourage people to actively participate in their charts, in their transits and directions and progressions, rather than feeling like Saturn is going to kick their butt this year, or Pluto's got it in for them in 2 years, and all that sort of nonsense that astrologers and students and the public buys into.
I think the most insightful thing that you mentioned, like as you were talking, like, implicitly, is the fact that there's a difference between forecasting and predicting. And since there is a difference, it also implies that the mechanism of astrology differs depending on how you use astrology according to forecasting and prediction. And like personally, I mean, I'm a student of astrology and I've always heard the prediction end of it, but like I've never kind of seen it from a forecasting way of it. And like, now that you mention it, like with forecasting, it gives more empowerment and more flexibility and a more realistic, mindset with the world when it comes to like how to function in it. So I think that's really cool that you made that difference. And I think that key difference is what probably makes astrology even more powerful. Now, moving along, you know, why should anyone go to an astrology conference? Why ISAR at all? Like, why would you even go?
Well, I'm going because I've been invited. People who, well, it's an interesting community, the astrology community, because I think we're incredibly diverse. We may not tick off every single box in terms of cultures and backgrounds sometimes, but it's getting that way, and people are putting energy into that. The astrology community has its ego battles and battles like everybody else, but it's inclusive in the sense that when you learn astrology, you realize it's coming from your particular lens, and somebody else is going to come along with their lens, their birth chart, their experiences. And if you're open to listening to what somebody else has to say, you're going to be learning their point of view. You'll take something away for your own toolkit. So just listening to a range of intelligent speakers, people with different ideas, people with different approaches, will help you enormously, even if it's to say, that's not who I am. I don't want to go down that road. But I prefer maybe that particular type of approach. Astrologers, in spite of what the general public may think at times, astrologers are the most intelligent people I've ever met. I know some seriously impressive intellects in astrology. These are not naive or gullible people who just believe in something that has been disproven by science 1,001 times. Astrologers are hugely creative, intelligent, and usually very, very open to ideas and to people. And I think we're a great community. So that alone should encourage people to come along, experience, listen to different voices, and to learn from some really exceptional minds. And that's what I do when I go to conferences generally.
So basically, if you go to a conference, you get to meet, well, not only you have an opportunity to learn, a bunch of cool astrology stuff, you get to meet really cool, intelligent people who know what they're talking about. They have a different perspective every time. And like, it's just a great opportunity to see many different perspectives. And also, after the lectures, you can always have fun afterwards because people like to talk about that too. So, yeah, that's pretty much it for this interview, Frank. Do you have any final words or any regards about conferences, your workshop, yourself? Do you have any last extra words?
Well, just in terms of my workshop, we do a lot of the people's charts in the workshop. So I can do lots of examples. I do a lot of research into the lives of well-known people, and they're great examples. But you really learn by learning about your own chart. So what we're doing mainly is to apply these 9 steps, get people to work with their own charts, share their stories. And that, to me, is the greatest way of learning astrology, is to watch how your own map unfolds and how your life has unfolded with different transits, and to be able to see yourself through that and have other people in the room contribute to that. So it's very interactive, and I'd recommend that people join if they're interested in exploring that.
Yep, it always hits different when it's your own chart. So before I go, I just want to let you guys know that the workshop will be on September 9th from 1:15 to 5:15 p.m. So it's going to be 4 amazing hours of forecasting and learning how to empower yourself with forecasting. Frank, thank you so much for coming for this interview. It was a pleasure to talk to you and kind of get to know you and know what your workshop's about, because honestly, I'm looking interested now. But yeah, thank you so much for coming.
All right, you take care, Alexis. Thanks for having a chat.